Hey everybody, Richard Pickett and Shel Shapiro here, Digital Brand Alchemy. Once again, doing a live broadcast on a beautiful Saturday. Hope you guys are enjoying the day. I was out earlier today myself. I was telling Shel I was cutting the grass, and I used to think I lived on a hill, but after having to mow it a couple times now, it feels like a mountain.
I
But it
just
was
want to
definitely
know before
enjoyable.
you get too far, was
Yep.
it one of those like riding lawnmowers or was it one of the push ones?
So this is a self-propelled push mower. Definitely not a riding mower.
Okay. So you're
But
not having your Forrest Gump moment. You're actually
no.
pushing it. Okay.
Well, but the nice thing is, like, when it goes uphill, I can just like hold the bar, and it pretty much takes it. I just have to steer it, guide it with my hand or whatever. But regardless, walking up and down the hill so many times, yeah, it kind
You
of
got
wears
your
on me.
steps in for the day and then some.
Yeah, and then some. So, all right. Today is April the 4th. I wish I could really play an April Fool's joke on everybody, but it would be 3 days late.
Yeah.
So much
Surprise.
for
Now
that.
you get to stay home even longer.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, right before we started, Yan, my wife, for those of you that don't know, was showing a video where parents had told their kids on April Fools that they had to go back to school, um, and it was really bad. So all the kids were like so upset, and it's been amazing to me. Like my daughter, by the way, she's like really studious. She's the kid that would complain when it's summertime because there's no homework. And I am not kidding you. We would go buy her like a
Just want
geometry
something to
work.
do. Yeah.
And she'd go, yeah, she'd go. We would get like a geometry workbook, and she'd work through stuff. Like she's just such a nerd. So anyway, even she doesn't want to go back to school now. So it's like, okay, you finally like kind of grew up and became a teenager now. So
But she can play with her harp and learn some more things. So she's not bored. There's things for her to do.
right. Alrighty, so this week, the topic is what your future customers really want, and I think this is important um, in two ways. This is actually like there are two ways to take the sentence. Number one, it's not what your current customers want now, but it's like where's your market going to be in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. But also, what if you don't look at customers or people today as potential customers and instead view them a different way? I'm hoping to spark that as a thought or a paradigm shift change, because no one, like I said in the email for today's video, no one wakes up and says, okay, I want to be a customer today. Like nobody thinks that way at all. But in business, we always think, I'm going to go find some customers today. But no one's walking around saying, hey, I'd like to be your customer. I'm a customer over here. So how is it that we can develop relationships today with people that will become customers of ours in the future? That's the main way that I really intended that. So, Shel, any thoughts? I don't know if you got a chance to look through the bullet points, or if you want to give an update on your week before we hop into the different bullet points.
Yeah. Well, I we were just kind of talking about this behind the scenes a little bit too, or we started to, about thinking about what our customers would look like now versus like if we didn't look at them as customers now, what would we be getting them ready for down the line, 2 months from now, 4 months from now, a year from now. Um, so I know it was a little bit different the way we were talking about it, but it's in the same vein of uh just having that conversation starter to get them warmed up even if they don't know that they're clients yet, but when you are targeting and researching and narrowing down who your ideal client is and reaching out to them to start those conversations, maybe they don't know that it's something that they need right now, whatever service it is that you're offering. But the more that you talk to them, the more that you get to know them and know what's really troubling them to really refine your niche even more and like confirm it for yourself. But you're also putting it in their heads at the same time. They're like, oh, well, I didn't know that I needed that, but now that we're talking about it more, like, oh, I could see where that would help me. Like, yeah, and you don't even have to ask those questions. It could just come up through the evolution of the conversation between you and your prospective client or non-client in this case. I've had that happen many times where I'm just talking to somebody and they're like, "Oh, I didn't realize that that's what you do," or wow, you seem to really know what you're doing with the LinkedIn stuff. How did you get started on it? And then we'll go more in depth on it if we haven't already. And then, oh, well, those were really helpful. I didn't realize that that was something that I could do with different parts of their profile and stuff. So it comes up in different ways, having this conversation. And have you experienced it in your daily outreach of hand holding or like leading clients more toward what you're trying to offer them without them even realizing that it's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I see some people dropping in on the room,
Awesome.
or not room, sorry, group. Um, so if you want to just say hello, drop it in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you're from. We'll be happy to give some shout outs. And of course, if you have any questions, send them in. Yeah, so one of the things that I've observed is that most people actually don't know what they need. They know the outcome that they want. They usually go ahead and try to think of what thing will solve that or give them that outcome. And then that's the thing that they go around saying that they need without saying they need, that specific outcome. For example, um, someone is posting all the time on LinkedIn and they're busy commenting and making videos and all that kind of stuff, which is it's okay, but they're not getting any clients and they're connecting with a lot of people. They're taking a lot of phone calls, and that's very typical to happen. You'll get a lot of phone calls, but none of them will be clients. And then they get fixated. Instead of saying I need clients, I need customers, they say I need to just scale more and put out more videos. I need to figure out a way that I can get more phone calls. And so then they start playing the game of trying to get more likes or more comments and trying to trick the algorithm or whatever. And 2 years slip by, they don't have any clients, but they're busier than ever. And I know, like, I'll message people and I'll say, hey, we have a group where we talk about how you can make a profitable personal brand. And they'll tell me I'm too busy. And so then when I
No,
ask
you're
them,
not. You're not too busy.
yeah, well, I'll say,
Focusing on the
okay,
wrong
so
things.
yeah, exactly. I'll say, okay, so a lot of people that tell me that say that they're busy doing social media stuff like posts and comments and stuff like that. And you'll only get more busier with that and not get clients out of that. Does this describe you? And I can't tell you like how many will come back and say, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And so knowing like your client's needs, this is probably more this part of the topic when I sent out the topic list, like how to read your customer's mind, is knowing not only what they need, but how do they express it in their own way. So, for example, if someone came to me and said, I'm really trying to get more followers, I'm trying to scale up my social media, that to me lets me know that actually what they need are clients, and that's something I can help them get. So, in a way, I can read their mind by I know the symptoms that they have that may, from their perspective, seem completely unrelated, but for mine, like I totally get it. They're doing activity A, trying to get outcome X. And I know that they're not going to get that outcome from their activity. So it's easy then if you understand, like, everybody that needs clients, what are they currently doing? That's the question that I ask myself. They're really busy on social media is one really big one. Okay, so how can I find people that are really busy on social media that I think really it's symptomatic of them needing clients? And then how can I start up conversations with them?
Yeah.
Um, go ahead.
Uh, I'm
Oh,
to
I thought you had
yeah,
something.
no. Well, to your same point though, I mean, I've come across that so many times, and I think we both have, and we could probably go down a list of some people that we have in common that have been troubled by this. But what I've noticed that as I refocus and uh, work on trying to get actual clients and not those vanity metrics of like having likes and followers and actually converting people, that I'm spending less and less time on social media because I'm focusing my time on actually helping clients instead of just putting the information out there and like hoping for the best. So I it, it's a weird dynamic because I know why people are trying to get a bigger following, and you're right, it's to gain likes, it's to gain um, the numbers, so that yeah, that's going to keep you busy. But then what are you actually doing to make money? Because unless you're a brand influencer or your job is literally to gain following, like that, how are you converting that into dollars? Um, you have to be more strategic with it. And like I said, it's not all about the vanity metrics. Sometimes you want to convert to clients, and then you'll notice that you have less and less time to make posts and comment on people's comments and keep that you that's important too, because if people comment on your posts after, especially if you're providing value, you want to keep engaging. But just that initial back and forth and growing your following before you actually have something that's proven that can get you that monetary outcome, it's ill placed for, like, I think that's putting the cart before the horse. Um, and we talked about that last week too with your flow chart of where you are in your business. That's something that you don't necessarily need to do in the beginning. You need to focus on getting your systems right first.
Right. One of the guys that I was actually talking with earlier today on LinkedIn about LinkedIn marketing, I just asked him how's it going. He said he's really crushing it, just doing posts. And I'd I'd asked him if he had any questions specifically about LinkedIn marketing and getting a lot of contacts. And he said I don't have any because I'm just solely so busy right now, just totally crushing it, doing nothing but posts. And I was like, well, if you're actually getting a lot of clients doing posts, then my method will really go through the roof, because I'm so much more targeted than just throwing wild posts out there. I think he'll come back and tell me that he's actually not getting clients. He's just got a lot of activity.
Right.
But it's interesting how people, they equate to that busy to success, and they never stop and say, okay, but the actual value that I'm looking for is this one thing, which in this case is getting clients. And if they're not getting them, then I'm going to stop this activity because it's not helping.
Yeah.
This is where this I think was the first bullet point for today. This is where they fall into that trap because they think, okay, I'm just going to use attraction and I'm going to attract all my customers to me and I'm going to do it by making a bunch of posts. And I think that's a fallacy. Build it and they actually won't come. Build it and they come is definitely good for a movie. Not so much
Yeah, what was it,
for
Field of
reality.
Dreams or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yep. So the real way to attract your ideal customer to you is to find some ideal customers and give them such insane value that they begin to talk about you. Build a tribe, build a group where you're supporting them and you're meeting their needs, and they will talk to other people about you. And when they talk to other people, that's what will drive people coming to you more than just making posts that aren't actually delivering any tangible value. If you made a post that inspired me, maybe I'll share it. If you talked to me on the phone and gave me an insight that I put into my business and it 10x my business, I'm going to tell everybody about you. Like, that's the difference of what am I investing my time in, making a bunch of posts or whatever those activities are, or actually delivering a real change into someone else's business. If you want to attract your ideal customer to you, start with the ones that are closest to you and do such a bang up job that they end up talking about you.
And actually, if I can just brag about something awesome that happened this week,
Cool.
to the same point of finding your ideal customer, and we've previously talked about this in other weeks, specifically related to how we've altered my messaging a little bit to try to
Hmm.
target and niche down even more who my audience is. And for you guys, if you don't know or don't remember, I my ideal clients are young college graduates and entry level um, people, for
Yep,
lack of
just
a better word.
just entering the
And
workforce. Yep.
just entering the workforce, like 1 to 5 years. And what I do is I show them how to optimize their LinkedIn profiles so that they can set themselves apart. And so I've been working with Richard over the past month and a half now, to refine my messaging so that we can really attract more of these clients and see if that works in converting. Similar to your oh, hey, Arlene.
Yep. Keep going. We'll get to her comment.
Um,
But yes, hello, Arlene.
yeah, similar to the case study that you did with Keith. But since mine is a different audience, what had happened this week is I had decided, and we spoke about it a little bit, about um, pivoting a little bit to, instead of doing individual strategy calls and discovery calls, that I would try to do it more in like a workshop or um, environment. That way I can have more of those calls basically all at once with a group of people, and go over the same things. And that way that takes time off of my plate, but I'm still giving that same amount of value to even more people at the same time. And what happened with that messaging that we had changed, I know this was like supposed to be a quick brag and I took a long detour,
That's good.
uh, was that I had messaged a student who was set to graduate May 2020, which is now, I think it's still happening, but everything has been shifted remotely to be Zoom classes. And before she even replied to my connection message, I guess she had a discussion with her professor about this. And it aligned with what they were doing in their class right now, pre graduation. And so when she did come back and she answered my message and said, "Hey, my teacher would love for you to come and speak to the entire class about this." I don't know how many students are in this class, but just the fact that I now can not only talk to that initial client that I was seeking to connect with, but I'm going to speak to her entire class. And I haven't even spoken to them yet. And that professor has already introduced me to another professor who wants me to speak to their class as well. So just the fact that we've refined this messaging to attract the right customer, to let them know that yes, this is something that they need, and it's something that they want because they started spreading the word and spreading the message before I've even given them the value. So that's how valuable that they know that it is already. So that just proves the point even more that this works. That this is the way that a lot of you guys should be approaching your messaging and really refine like who your audience is and what messaging you're targeting to them. And tweak it often if we see that you're not getting a good result. Because I think we changed it just ever so slightly every week just to see what the responses would be, and it's been getting more and more um, responses in return. So
So Arlene said, "Wow, that sounds great." So totally cool.
yeah,
Um, and I think her question here also ties into what you're saying at a topic level that I'll hit in just a second. But Arlene, while tell us a little bit more about like what you do, because you say more than getting likes. How do you get more of your word out there, showing what you actually offer? So tell us real briefly, if you can, in the comments what you do, or hey, if you have a webcam, you can always hop on here like we did last week with Jolene and chat. But I believe I'll be able to tie whatever you tell me that you do into what Shell was just talking about, and that is now the next thing that I recommend for Shell to do is leverage her assets. So what do I mean by that? So Shell goes and talks to two different classes. I'm guessing this is going to be over Skype or probably not Skype, over Zoom, right?
it's gonna be, yeah. They already sent me their link to join their class.
Yep. So I would get permission to record it. I would get them to sign the media waiver. If you need a sample, like let me know, I can shoot you one. But they sign the media waiver, and then you record it. And also, when you start the recording, you can always just tell them, hey, as you guys know, we're recording this. So that kind of like covers you in case someone says, oh my God, I didn't know you're recording me, and now you got my face on the internet, like whatever. So maybe you don't have to get a media waiver signed by everybody, but definitely stating that out. I'm not sure about New York. I live in Tennessee. In Tennessee, by the way, we're allowed to record as long as one person in the conversation knows that we're recording. Maybe New York is the same way. I hate to get legal, but nevertheless, I just want to cover that.
Yeah,
Here's
I
why.
mean, I'll at least ask the professor's permission ahead of
Yep.
time because
Yep.
she's gotta give me that permission to record the screen as well.
And then I would also state that like in the recording, like after you started the recording, that way you know you got it. So I say that because now Shell will have an asset where she talks to an entire class. So there's two different ways to use this. One is what's the name of the college?
FIT,
Okay, so she could
Fashion
say,
Institute of Technology.
yeah. So hey, spoke at FIT. Like that becomes a list in her credentials. Multiple classes. That's cool. Ask the professors if they know anyone else, or maybe even people that they went to school with that are now teaching at another university. So Shell can build out a network of professors that she's doing these presentations for in her class for several reasons. One, because it's a list. It's now, like, hey, I have spoke at these different colleges on helping their students get prepared to enter the workforce. That's a long play. The short play is everyone in that class ends up saying, hey, Shell, or not everyone, we know everyone won't, but everyone could potentially in that class are going to see what Shell does and could potentially become clients. So it's almost like free advertising. Of
Yeah.
course, you and Shell and I
And
have
on
talked
top of
about this.
that, then the hope
Yep.
is that they're gonna continue to be word of mouth and be like, "Hey, you
Right.
know what we did in class today? Like, you should check out this girl's stuff. Like, she gave us this free guide and blah 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 and went over A through Z, and it really helped me." Like that is my ideal conversation right there.
And
Without
then
even
back to
having to have the conversation X amount of times because I've just done it for the entire class.
right. Yeah, it's like selling to 30 in the amount of time that it takes to sell to one. Then there's another one that if you have it recorded, that becomes something that you can offer to other people in your introduction. So going back to LinkedIn marketing and sending people messages saying, hey, it looks like you're about to graduate. I would love to get your feedback on one of the presentations that I gave to another class at FIT on them being prepared, preparing their profile and resume, et cetera, to enter the job. Would you be interested? Like, what new graduate would say, oh yeah, no, I'm not really interested in that? You're like, almost
Yeah.
all of them will
Why
jump
would
at
I
it.
need to work on my resume? That's
And then it's a simple follow-up of they say yes in some form. Shell posts back, cool, give me your email address and I'll send it right over. Now they're on her list. She can continue to follow up with them. They're getting value, but she doesn't have to put this like workshop on again because it got recorded. If she has two or three of them, Shell, you can, well, like I would record every single one of them all the time. And I would rotate them on the ones as you send out, like your invites or whatever, and people look at them and figure out which ones they resonate with them the most. The one that I like the best or the one that you like the best may not be the one that actually resonates the most with the students and gets them to say, Shell, you got a great service, let's talk. So this is what I mean by leverage your assets. And back to Arlene. So Arlene's original question with, okay, so what about getting more than getting likes? How do you get more of the word out showing your offer? So like in Shell's case, we're talking about building an asset that she can continue to share. Then Arlene follows up with, I help customer service managers improve their customer service skills, leadership to help them develop their team and their own skills. So this goes back to, yes, definitely develop an asset like this because you want to provide it, but then also, oh, I think I already deleted it. It was a leftover one of these little banners from last week. But what's the main pain point that customer service leaders have? Is it staff retention? Is it let me put myself in their position. I'm sure
Yeah.
employee
Is it
retention is
team
going to be,
building?
yeah, because employee retention is a big one, because employees get burned out with customer service. Um, then also the skills, like making sure that you can hire people and give them the skills they need to ask or to be the good customer support. So what are their big pain points? I'm not in the industry. I'm just taking a couple guesses here, but Arlene, you're certainly in the industry. So what are their main pain points? And then what's something you can give them right off the bat that helps them solve one of those pain point problems? And she
Lack of
just
ownership.
commented lack of ownership. So I'm guessing that's lack of ownership in the employee that's answering the phone. So then what's a resource that you could develop to give to leadership, and yes, also team building? Awesome. Yeah, because all of these things kind of go together. So can you build some culture resource that will help them build a better culture? Now, if you call them up, like let's just imagine you're phone dialing people, and you call them and you say, "Hey, I've got this resource where it can help you, build a better culture." Most of them, like their eyes will glaze over. They probably don't know what you're talking about, and this is where it gets to selling the box or the wrapping paper. So we know that the box is better culture, but you have to put some wrapping paper on it that makes sense to them, and that would be employee retention, team building. What was the other one? The other one that you mentioned, lack of ownership. So you could say, "Hey, I have a way. I've developed this resource, whatever it is, whether it's some video, download PDF, etc., that will help you build a sense of ownership in your call center employees and really build a team sense about them." Now, you know that it's culture, and probably you know that it takes leadership development, like the leader really has to change, and so you're going to like work with them one-on-one to help the leader improve. But that's the box, whereas the wrapper is the thing that attracts them. Just like Christmas time with kids, like they've looked at these boxes of wrapped things, whatever, under the tree for a month, and they're all excited about it. What happens when it's time to open the gifts? They're all excited. They rip the paper off. Like they had so much anticipation for a month. They see the toy, they set it aside and get the next one. Like, because what's in the box is not necessarily, of course, obviously they got toys they wanted or whatever, but I'm sure you have seen kids get toys, birthday parties, Christmas, whatever, and it's like some kids, they actually play more with the box than they do with the toy itself. But so this is the way you have to think about how to present what you have to them in a way that will really gravitate and click with them. So you may know it's leadership development. Poor leaders are going to be really bad for team culture, team building, getting employees to buy in. So you know that it may be like leadership development, but you can't, like, that's not what you would say to them when you present yourself. Hey, I got this thing that will help you develop into being a great leader. Like, that's probably not the metric that they're looking for. The metric they're looking for is, how can I keep employees engaged? How can I get them more bought in? And learning to say the problems the way the employees or that manager says them. And
Yep.
then that's the wrapping paper. Then you get, when they say, "Oh wow, that's beautiful, like this is really helpful to me," then you sell them the more wrapping paper, but you deliver the box to them, which is the real thing that they needed inside.
And just to add on to everything that you just said, Richard, another way to maybe think about this is also to think about, and correct me if I'm wrong, I at some point or now or in the past, you were a customer service manager yourself. Like, how did you get to this point? And the reason that I'm asking that is is because there's obviously tools that you use in your daily work that helped you elevate. your skills and improve your customer service level and your leadership and your team building and your accountability, your ownership over something. So what tools are you using in your daily business that you can use your expertise in those tools to then either make training videos so that your employees or so that other people can learn those same skills, and also leverage the fact that if you're using a specific tool like a CRM or something, and you're then teaching somebody else how to use that same CRM, get an affiliate link so that you can also have a background stream of income when they need to go purchase that or even a trial. Little segue coming back, but use those tools that you know really well. Use whatever you've done really well, and leverage that into teaching people those same things, because they might not realize that they need those skills, but if you're developing them as a customer service manager and you know all the ins and outs of what somebody needs to do, make a workflow for them. Also, this connects to what we've talked about in the previous weeks, and I'm gonna drop this in here again. Asana is a really great productivity tool to help people work with teams, also to know who's supposed to be taking ownership of what. And so maybe this isn't the tool, maybe you're using Trello, maybe you're using a completely different tool as a CRM and productivity tool to connect all these different things. But that's another example of a tool that you can then teach other people how to use really well to leverage their skills. And to develop them better and be more comfortable in taking ownership over something when a task is specifically like scheduled for them to do it once it's moved down a certain pipeline. So that's another way to just combine everything, with what you know that they need, and package it in a way and put a pretty ribbon on it that without actually telling them that that's what they need. You're like giving it to them in a different way than to get that end result.
Yeah, and again, the ideal is that you're shooting for is you're delivering something that they're actively looking for that solves the problem the way they understand it. That's the thing that I like to use in the introduction, and then I begin to educate them about the thing that they really need. Um, yep. So, and that's the wrapper versus the box method. You want to give them the box. You want to solve their problem for them, but they're not looking for the box. As Jolene said last week, you're selling the sizzle, not the steak. Like you're going
Yeah,
to give them a
that was such a
steak.
great quote. Like, thank you for
Yeah.
bringing that back.
Yep. Okay, so I think Arlene too. Like, I would love to connect with you. I say offline; it will technically be online, but I mean not within this live, to learn more about your business, because it sounds like with what you offer, you could easily be going after building your marketing on LinkedIn, and that's totally my specialty. So I would love to see if there's a way that we could leverage that. All right. Anyone else? I see other people have dropped in and some have dropped off. Some are still on different channels on Facebook. Other questions. Plus, let's go back through.
Yeah, and where are we streaming from today? We're in Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch. Was that one that you're also on?
Yep, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, also through Periscope, and I'm not sure if the LinkedIn one is connected yet or not. Restream says that they're streaming to it. I don't know. I don't remember seeing an error report that it couldn't connect. So I'll have to check on that. So the items that we had today. Well, actually, we got another. Okay, Arlene said, "Sure, let's do that." Okay, so I'll shoot you a message after, or if you want to, you can do it while the live is going. But I'll definitely connect with you after this live, and we can set up a time to chat. That sounds really good. Attract your ideal customer to you. So again, serve the customers you have in such a way that they go crazy. Like case in point, Shell was talking to a student, and the student got so excited and said, "Can you do this for my whole class? I'll go talk to the professor." The professor thought it was such a great idea, said, I got another professor. I would like for you to do it for their class as well. By the way, professors don't just teach one class of students, one sitting group of students. They teach, classes all day long. So, there's no telling where this, just with those two, where that can go.
Yeah.
So that's really great.
And then on top of that, it can also become a repeat thing for this same professor. Like, you did that really well for this class. Can you do it again for next semester's students?
Right.
And then it can just become like an evergreen thing.
Well, and then this is really how you build personal brand, because then the next thing is you get invited to a panel, you become a speaker. They want you to do a presentation to their graduating class. It's little things like this. This is how it grows until this is what, just like it says, you're now attracting your ideal customer to you.
Yeah. And
Like
then
in the
boom, 5,
yeah,
10 years from now, I'm giving a speech at some entire school's graduation.
don't forget us little
Dare,
folks when you
dare
get
to
really big.
dream. Also, TED Talk coming soon.
Oh, there you go. So in the beginning, you may have to be the one going out to find your ideal customer, but you want to leverage your assets and leverage your activities so that eventually it turns into something where they're being attracted to you and you're not having to chase them all the time. And it's not done with posts. Imagine, Shell, if you had just done nothing but made LinkedIn posts and Instagram posts. Do you think this opportunity would have opened up?
No.
Yeah.
Because it's
So,
not about the vanity metrics.
right. All right. How to read your customer's mind. So again, think about their pain points, the way that they view the problem, not the way we would describe it. We're the expert. So like Arlene's the expert at how to run good customer service. The way she views the problem and the way she would describe that situation is completely different than the leader that's in, or manager that's in the middle of the problem, because her view is so much better than the manager. The manager can't see really what's going on wrong. They just know they're experiencing the pain. So reading your customer mind is putting yourself in their place and understanding how would this person describe the problem that they're having and what do they think it is, and connect with them and give them value along with that by selling them the wrapping paper. Like, describe it the way that they view it, in the way that would get them excited and connected on it, and end up delivering the box to them. Still, you want to solve the problem, but if you went around like trying to sell the steak and no one can smell it, no one can hear the sizzle, whatever from the steak, no one would want it. But you're driving down the road and you smell a steakhouse. If you're a person that likes steak, and you're driving down the road and it's about lunchtime and you're getting hungry and you smell steak cooking somewhere, like, you're like, no one said, you didn't even like have a picture of a steak, you just smelled it, and it's like, okay, that's where I want to go. Same thing in sales. You want to sell the smell or sell the sizzle, not necessarily the steak.
Now I'm getting hungry again. You always do this. Hey,
Yeah, here we
Wendy,
go.
thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and of course the questions as they came in, and leverage your assets as you go along. This is one we came across today. As you go, build up your assets, get recordings, get lists of places and people that you've helped that you can leverage, not only for your credibility, like Shell being able to say, I've worked with these colleges, these professors, I've had X number of students, like all those types of credentials, but also recording those sessions and being able to put them on our website and use that as a free, hey, see if this gives you any value, see if this helps you at all. By the way, every one of those recordings that she does, and she has someone else view it, that's one less time she has to have a live session with them and convey exactly the same thing. Plus, if I watched a video of Shell presenting to an entire class, immediately, like, the authority that communicates is a lot higher versus Shell inviting me to a one-on-one. Like, here's one that she did at this college. Okay, wow, immediately that tells me authority. This must be really good. It's kind of certified by the college to me, or by the professor, or whatever, versus her inviting me to a one-on-one. So make assets like that and leverage them in your business. And that was it. Also, hey, Wendy says hello.
Yeah, that's her little Pika bunny. I don't know if you're familiar with her Pika Bunny series.
Nope.
Wendy is this amazing children's author, um, and a close friend of mine, also in Tennessee, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. And she teaches people how to be more kind, and is very her message is very strong anti-bullying, and lessons that children can learn.
So, Wendy, thanks for dropping in. Look at that. She says that Shell is amazing. We
Thank you,
knew that,
Wendy.
but and she says thank you for your kind words about her. So, what part of Tennessee, Wendy? I'm
If I
in Brentwood.
if I remember correctly, it's Knoxville, but I could be wrong.
Pick app. Okay, so we'll have to search this
Yeah,
hashtag.
it's her kindness app. Oh, I was right, Knoxville.
Yep, she's in
Yeah,
Knoxville.
Her Pika app is actually trending, I believe. And she's pivoted quite a bit to have this kindness app come across for different brands and in different schools for children to use, and even for adults to use every day to track their kindness and their the amount of things that they do to help other people, to help themselves, to help the environment. And she's just leveraging the crap out of that right now to increase people's kindness and awareness of bullying.
Okay, so I think that I must have come across the wrong thing. Let me see if I can share this. Wendy, Wendy, drop the link in so we can get to it because I will show you what I'm coming up with, and I don't think it's what you're doing. Yes, there. You guys seeing that? Yeah. So I just searched Pika app, all one word, and this was the top link, which does look like it's an app, but they create a whole bunch of different apps. So I'm not pretty sure I'm not coming across the right thing.
I believe it's called the kind something with kindness. It's the kindness tracker. I should know
Um,
this. I'm sorry.
yep, no worries. Let's see.
Wendy, I'm sorry. I'm a bad friend that I can't
She
find it.
said search PikaCon. Okay.
It's the Pika Bunny kindness tracker. It's
Well,
definitely
yeah.
in Google Play because I have it installed.
Yeah, and I can't even spell correctly. There we go. Boom. Pika Bunny
Yeah.
kindness tracker. Very cute. Oh, I must have. Here's the little arrow. Let Pika Bunny help keep track of your acts of kindness. Love is kindness. Love is giving. Love is an action. Not very true. It's not a feeling. My name is Richard Pickett, and I support this message. But because if love's a feeling, then when you don't feel well, like it's okay to treat people wrong, right? So like no, like love. I've always said it was a decision. Let me see how this love is an action. Yep, I like that too. So for the action side, I've used kindness. Has been a focus of mine. I know this is way off topic for brand marketing, but this is so fun to me. That kindness, instead of thinking how can I love other people because love can seem arbitrary, I've thought about how can I be kind and focus on kindness because kindness is an action, or acting with kindness. Whereas sometimes we may interpret it to just be a feeling. But definitely, if love is a feeling, then when I don't feel good, then I don't love people, and that's why I don't think that's a good way to look at love. So really cool. I'll have to share this with my daughter. She's 14. Um, Kids are weird. I mean, y'all know that. Y'all were kids once. Um,
I'm still a kid. What are you talking about?
but you know how like kids go through this phase where when they're 12, suddenly they don't want anything like they had when they were 8. And then when they're like 16, 18, like it's really cool to go retro and get something from back when they were, 5 or whatever. They start carrying around a Cabbage Patch doll or whatever when they're 18. But there's this weird part in the middle where it's like they wanted to grow up and be older. So it's totally
and they
not
want
cool.
nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Okay, so now I've got to catch up with all these comments. Okay, so it's in the App Store. We found it. Cool. Yes, ma'am, we found it, and it's for 18 plus. Oh, snap! So
the first one was for children, and then she has an adult version as well.
Oh, she's got an adult one. Cool. She said, yeah, that's the one that's for kids. iOS. Who uses iOS, right? I mean, come on now. All right, search Pika Practice Intentional Kindness app for Workplace Home Planner. And I think that's the quick link for the iOS one. Yeah, and she said, thanks for mentioning. By the way, I know that I may be flying through these comments. The comments are going to be permanent on the video. So, and are you coming to us? Yes, from within the group. So for those that are watching this outside the group, if you just go to Digital Brand Alchemy in the Facebook group and see this video, you will have even the link like to the iOS one. So I'm going to see if I can find the adult one. So Practice Intentional Kindness app for workplace. Am I still sharing this? Yes. Okay.
You are still sharing this. I was not able to find it on Android, but that could just be me.
Pika Practice Intentional Kindness.
You're not hijacking the conversation at all. We love talking about kindness. And as you know, I'm very anti-bullying, so it's a very strong message that resonates well with me.
Okay, so this one I think is the one we just looked at. It is.
And these are the children's one has been out for a while. It's very possible that the adult one is not available on Google Play yet. I know she's been developing and redeveloping things the past few months.
All right. Yeah, I'm not able to find the adult one. Maybe the adult one is only on iOS, and I'm an Android kid, so.
That doesn't mean that other people won't be able to find it. Have at it, guys.
Yep. So also, this is where it's really important. Wendy, if you had a website, which I'm guessing you probably do, but on your website, you would have the links. And then in a case like this where you're, oh yeah, she said the adult one's only on iOS. So in a case like this, when like you're either going to come on the show or like in this case, we're talking about it, you could just say everything is right here. And you just put that one website link in. We would be able to go there and find it all. Yeah, so it's only for iOS, the adult version. Well, I'm an Android guy.
That doesn't mean you can't use the children's one. I used it for like, I mean, I tested it out with her. But yeah, I used it and I just pretended the school stuff was work for me.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is, it's related. I don't know how well related. Yep, she said it's not on her website yet. I use this little bracelet. I can't remember where I heard the idea, but this guy he used those little armband ones, rubber type armband bracelets, and it was I don't think it was kindness. I think it was something else. But it nevertheless, that part doesn't really matter. Basically, you want to go 30 days keeping whatever little bracelet you wear on one wrist. So I started over here, and then you pick one problem that you want to overcome in your life. Like I say, start with outward things and before you start working with inward. So like we're totally going away from personal brand marketing, but it's cool because like we're talking about life practice now. So in this particular case, like start with outward. Like maybe I don't feel well Like that's not a good one to start with. But talking a certain way to people, I want to change the way that I talk to people. Okay, so I would say whatever that is. Like I want to act with kindness, or I don't want to blow up at people. If you have an anger or blow up problem, like whatever. So you pick the thing that you want to change. Start with an outward behavior of after years of doing this, you can start working on like I want to manage my feelings better, and then you can make it an inward thing, not necessarily an outward expressive one. Okay, so you put it on one wrist, and at the end of every day, ask yourself, did I keep that? Did I blow up, or like whatever that thing was? And if the answer to that is I was able to keep my commitment, cool. You keep it on that wrist. And you keep doing that until you reach 30 days on one wrist. Every time you make a mistake, you switch it to the other wrist. So then it becomes the tracker that now I've got to keep it on this wrist for 30 days or whatever. And every day, ask yourself at the end of the day, hey, what did I keep my commitment? If the answer is yes, it stays on. And it's another day in the books. I have it off right now because I was mowing grass earlier. But that has actually helped me a lot on, especially kindness became one of the things that I focused on, and being kind to myself. Whoa, check it out. Shell has helped me tremendously and I highly recommend her. Awesome. How did you guys meet?
We met on LinkedIn, and we met through one of the courses that we both took. And we've just been in touch ever since.
Very cool.
Yeah.
When do you got to come on the show someday? We would love to have you.
Wendy is awesome and goes on and has been on so many podcasts in the past 6 months to try to grow her brand and people's awareness of kindness. And newly, this Pika Bunny kindness tracker, including some that you may be familiar with on LinkedIn, like that. What's the pirate one? The pirate one.
The pirate broadcast.
You're talking about, yeah.
Yep.
She's been
With
on
John. That. What is John's last name? I can't remember his last name. But yep, I know who you're talking about.
And she's definitely, I believe you also know Lila Smith.
Yep.
And so she's been on with her as well to read some of her stories, and as well she's also good friends with Anna.
Oh, cool.
So we have mutual connections, all three.
All the cool people. Yes, Russ Johns. That's correct. Thank you. He's the one, for those that are watching, he's the one with the pirate, LinkedIn Live pirate broadcast. All right, so Wendy, let's set up a date. Speaking of which, we have a live interview with Moira. I hope I'm saying her name correctly, Moira Shepherd. And that will be Monday at 7 Eastern, looks like, 6 Central, 4 Pacific, and no one knows what Mountain Time is. So, all right. And so, Wendy, we would love to have you if you want to come on a weekend. We typically do this every Saturday, or not typically. We're doing it every Saturday, 4 Eastern, 3 Central. Would love to have you, or if you want to come on during the week, we typically would do one of those in the evening. So just let us know. I'd love to set it up.
Yeah.
Awesome. You're very, very welcome. Alrighty. Any last thoughts? Yeah, I think that's it. I'd already gone back through the banners again in the summary, and then Wendy hopped on. And now, of course, we've got more viewers than ever. Thank you, guys. If you just dropped in, let us know who you are, where you're from, so we can say hello before we hang up. Sorry. You can always watch the replay, of course. As soon as we stop, I think it turns immediately into a video, and you can like rewind it back to the beginning.
Yeah, you can always also find the videos on YouTube to replay them at your convenience. I believe those are listed under your YouTube name, right? It's under Richard Pickett.
Yeah, just look for Richard Pickett. That's correct.
What do we got? We're coming up on the hour. Any final questions? Anything we can help you guys answer? We're here for you.
Yep. This has been fun, and
now I'm craving a steak. So.
Oh my goodness! Again, right? I'm gonna have to come up with another phrase that won't have anything to do with food. Or you need to start eating before the show.
I had a snack before the show, but
Okay.
I just like food.
Yes.
I was gonna get really defensive, but no, I do. I plan my day. Well, it's not planned around what I'm gonna eat. I'm just always thinking about food. So, and I do
Alrighty. Well,
tacos. Smell, yeah, tacos.
Adele, awesome. Thanks for joining us, Adele. Really appreciate you dropping in. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always ask them. And for those of you that are watching, either right now you just came at the very end, or you're watching this after we are done, you can always just ask more questions. We will type in the answers. And of course, we'll do another live again next Saturday. And we'll even pick up the questions that you guys have sent in the meantime. So,
Yeah, same bat time, same bat channel.
same batty people.
Yep.
Arlene, great info. Awesome. Yep. So Arlene, I will connect with you this afternoon. Thank you. And with that, I think that's a wrap. Thank you guys so much.
We look forward to seeing you next week.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.